Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of the DraftCast. We're actually doing it live this time for a change. Adam joins us. We're going to run through the current league table, answer a few questions on his team, and present the new guest segment of Higher or Lower. How are you doing, Adam? Yeah, you're doing all right. You're doing all right. I was going to ask you how dog ownership was going. Okay, right. I'm getting some reports that nobody can hear you. So, let me try and sort that out first. This is not going very well already. So no one can hear the music and no one can hear you. Great. Oh, I know why. Right, okay. Okay. Bear with everyone. I'm gonna have to stop the stream and come back. I'll be two seconds. Literally. I know what the problem is. Bear with. Okay. Right then, if you're still with us, please leave a comment to let me know if you can hear me, the music, and Adam. If you want to just check Adam.
Hello, can you hear me? Anyone at all?
Right, I'm just waiting for people to respond. Yes. Got a yes from Jim.
We've got a yes from Jim. What a chat.
All good from Georgie as well. Right. Let's start that again. How are you, Adam?
I am very, very well. Thank you very much. Just enjoying life, enjoying this season, especially on the fantasy football. It's life's going fairly swimmingly at the moment. So thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I am good, thank you. I'm looking forward to doing this live. It's been a while since we've done one. I think the last live thing I did was the draft, when we did the draft. So we're not going to keep you all that long, hopefully, this time. But yeah, so no, how's dog ownership going?
Oh yeah, it's certainly changed my life for the better. Can't imagine what it would be without him now. To be honest, 4.5 months old now.
Wow.
And just the greeting that you get, whether you've left for 30 seconds or whether you've been to work and then come back in the evening, is it's class. I love it. It never gets old.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's gone quick. 4 months. Jeez.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's flown by.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk about some football. And we'll start, as always, with the league table. And this week has seen quite a variation in scores, you could say. So
yeah, this game week seems to have gone on for about 1 million years, hasn't it? Really, it's probably been the longest individual game week we've seen since we've started doing it over the last kind of 3 or 4 years. It just seems to have dragged on until obviously last night, where not really the game of the season last night, but at least it's over and done with, and we can crack on and fly through until the end of the season now.
Yeah, so let's have a look at some scores. I mean, Tolly's had a great week with 60. Rich has had a good week with 50 as well, clawing a little bit back every week, it seems. And then you and Tom at the top with 46. Those are good scores all around.
Yeah, it's. Tolly 60 quality score. He's jumped up a couple of places now, and he's right up in behind kind of Jim and Jack. So it's good to see that things are starting to bunch up a little bit because there's leagues within the leagues at the moment.
Yeah.
It's nice to see Richard get a decent week in, hitting the half century. It'd be great if he can start to string a couple of those together, to be fair, and just close the gap a little bit to Ben, because it just keeps him interested, really, I think, more than anything, because I know if I was in his position, I'd probably just sink away and not worry about it too much, really.
Yeah. And then you've got, what, sort of Lawrence, me, George, Tolly, Jack, Jim, from 5th to 10th, all within sort of 30 points. It's tight.
It is, but even Max, he's been coasting, coasting in 4th for quite a while, and just on the edges now of Jim, Jack, obviously Tolly, George, yourself, Lawrence. You're just within that kind of area where you think, 2 or 3 good weeks in a row, and you've closed that gap considerably. And then it's just then the top 3 to try and catch up with, really.
Yeah. I mean, you and Tom. I mean, you've done well to make sure you kept the same distance between Tom this week.
Yeah, it's. I think from my point of view, and I've kind of thought this throughout since we started this season with 12 managers. I think if you can kind of get to the 40-point mark, you should, unless somebody has an absolute worldie, you should be able to just maintain your kind of league position and just sniff upwards a little bit, really. But the gap is just starting to open a little bit more now. What is it? It's 23 points. So not a lot at all. Not enough to really warrant me setting off into the sunset yet. As we can, as we learnt from last year with Tom kind of messing up, what was it, like a 53-point lead or something with about 9 game weeks to go. We messed it up quite, messed it up in probably the worst way possible. So I think once we get to that kind of 55-point mark, I might seem to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
But it's still all to play for, really.
Oh, definitely. And I think the rest of us are hoping it stays tight till the end of the season, because it's just way more interesting to watch than if someone runs away with it.
I mean, if I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, I can't remember who it was, and I said, you'd rather win it in a way that, say, Man City won their first Premier League in literally like the dying seconds, rather than winning it in a way that they're going to win it this year, where they're going to just run away with it by February, March time. So I want it to go to the end. I'm just hoping that Tom, and I'm sure will do anyway, but just keep pace would be great. But also I'd love somebody from kind of anybody below the bottom 3, just to link together 4 or 5 game weeks in a row and really start to close that gap, because that'll make it interesting as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure there's much else worth mentioning. I mean, it's unfortunate, isn't it? Sort of George, Jack and Will haven't had the best of weeks, but we all have them, so it's nothing new, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's inevitable, isn't it? I think, I mean, even looking at Tolly's score, by the way, 60. Nick Pope got 19.
That is mad.
He's kept 2 clean sheets, 2 0-0s for Burnley, 19 points off 2 games under 1 game week. He must be absolutely chuffed with that, considering his backup, his other keeper is Edison. So fair play to Tolly for making that decision.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's have a look at your team then, as we've got you on. So I've got a few questions for you on this team. Like I mentioned, good week, 46 points. We already discussed a bit about the race for the end of the season, but my question is sort of like, so if you were to lose top spot, are you going to look at inwards towards your team, or are you going to applaud the person that overtakes you?
I'd probably go a little bit of both. More likely applaud somebody else, because I think my team in the main has got a really good solid core that I expect to do well, barring some horrendous injuries. I could probably count at least 7 or 8 out of my squad where I think, they're probably going to be with me until the end of the season, unless a wonder trade comes in, or they do their ACL or something. So I'll probably go applaud somebody else. I mean, we got to look at Tom and Morris, their teams really. Tom's got a handful of nice players: Jota, Cancelo, Van Dijk, Bernardo has been outstanding this season. Morris you've got to be wary of Will and his B-tools of Alisson, Robertson, Konate, and Salah. Obviously, is a joke, isn't he? So
yeah,
I think beyond that, I think I've got a core nucleus of more players that will score good points than they do. However, obviously they get a better pick on waivers, and as we may speak about shortly, there's quite a number of players looking like they could well be picked up. When is it? Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night for the next game week. So
yeah,
if they can pick up a couple of decent waivers tomorrow night, then that could make things very, very interesting.
definitely. So sort of carrying on from that, do you see any weaknesses in your team at the moment that you would look at?
Yeah, I think like I mentioned, I've got a core nucleus of a couple in each kind of position, really. I've got obviously Trent and Reggie, with Reece James to come back in defence. Ideally, I'd like to trade upwards from Dawson and definitely Kamara. He was a kind of a 1 game week job, just for the double game week just gone. Same thing with midfield. Buendia, Mane, and McGinn. Pretty set in stone with those 3. Harvey Barnes, I can give or take, really. I don't know if he'd certainly be one that I would look to trade if there was a decent one on offer to me. Minamino, again, that was just a 1 game week thing, and didn't do that well, so he'll hopefully be shipped out tomorrow night. And then obviously I've got Watkins and Brozier, with Bamford to come back whenever that happens.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Do you think he's coming back?
It's mad, I've had him for probably about 80-90% of this season, and all I've had off him is 190 minutes where he grabbed an assist, which was great. Got injured, ended up trading him out to Jim, I think it was. I can't remember for the life of me who for, but I eventually got him back, and just as he was about to come back, he got injured again. So it was kind of like, right, okay, I've had him for, what are we now? We've had 23 game weeks, so I've probably had him for at least 19 of those.
Yeah.
And I've only had one 90 minutes out of him. So when it does happen, great, but when that is going to happen, I really am not too sure.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Do you hold out for him to come back, or do you trade him or throw him into waivers? I've got the same dilemma.
The waivers one is always interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people have the same sort of mindset, really, where I could throw him into waivers, fine, and he still may not play for another 6 or 7 game weeks, and then somebody else picks him up, and in those last 8 or 9 game weeks, he goes and scores, I don't know, for say 40 points, just for say. But the person that I've picked up out of the agency, who is just a perennial 2-pointer, basically, it's weighing that up, really. Do you go quantity of game weeks over the possibility of quality of game weeks? And it's a real difficult one to weigh up. I think I'll keep a hold of him unless somebody drops a clanger by dropping a really good striker into the mix. But again, being top, it's not like I get first dibs or anything. So
no, that's true.
It kind of just makes sense just to keep hold of him, maybe, for the time being.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone would disagree with that strategy. I think, we've seen it in the past with people holding on to players, so yeah.
It's not like it's Raul Jimenez, is it, really? And,
well, we don't know that yet.
Bear keeping him for... Well, yeah, that's a good point. Bear keeping him for the entire season and just becoming a meme of himself, basically.
Yeah, Jim's asking whether you should take in Sargent. I thought someone had him. Or has he gone back into agency now?
Yeah, I could have sworn Richard had him, didn't he? And then he went and scored however many points. Am I right in saying that? Or have I made that up?
I don't know. Honestly, don't know. So my last question was going to be, what do you think the majority of people are struggling to manage this year?
I think struggling to manage is a difficult one. I think it's probably something which I've just mentioned, is being able to chop and change players, but chop and change them at the right time. I mean, I've been guilty of it certainly in the past, where I've kept hold of players far too long, and that's almost hampered me. And you could probably say that about Bamford right now. But then there's always the same players coming in and out of agency on waivers. I mean, it's there's a reason why a player is in the agency, but then to bring that person in and bring them in and just get a little bit of luck with it as well, I think that's really where some have kind of been let down a bit this season.
Yeah.
Say for example, like my best free agent this year overall has been Armando Broja.
Oh, definitely.
It's, he was in agency. I'd mentioned a couple of times in the group chat that people were saying, there's a shortage of strikers, which there is 100%. But he was in the agency at that point, and I knew that he was quite highly rated from Chelsea. So I'd mentioned a couple of times, when he does start, he'll start scoring for sure. He's got to. And he was left there. And then I think I had Danny Welbeck, who, surprise, surprise, got injured. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to take my own advice here and bring him in. And lo and behold, he doesn't do 90 minutes a lot of the time, but he does start the majority, it seems, these days. And he's bagged me quite a number of points since I brought him in. So I think it's just a little bit of luck, plus just bringing these players in and not getting rid of them too quickly sometimes.
Yeah. So Will in the comments says that Broja's out for the season, and then he's put some, what I presume is a chant to some football team's chant with Walt is falling apart again.
So Broja, he took a knock to the knee in extra time. It was yesterday against Coventry. I'm aware that there was a scan today, but I haven't heard whether anything good or bad has come out of that. There was rumour last night that it was just a clash of knees and it wasn't too bad. But we'll wait and see, because he'd be definitely one that I'd be keeping a hold of, assuming it's not a horrendously bad injury.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he's back as a Saints fan, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Lots of people going on about Mane in the chat, but I think we'll move on. Yeah, I've got no more questions for your team.
I have a question regarding your team.
Do you now?
That's okay.
Okay, let me get that up for everybody.
If you don't mind me going a bit rogue.
No, definitely not. I'm prepared. I've prepared for this. Go for it. I'm ready.
What's next for expected to lose? What are you looking at from the inside, as you put it? Are you thinking you're pretty settled, or are you thinking, do you know what, there is actually probably 6 or 7 players in that team where you think I need to get rid of them somehow?
I think there's defense-wise, I'm pretty happy. I feel like I can rotate them round with my other players every week, pretty much, to keep myself happy defense-wise. Midfield, I think I need to get rid of Decore and Højbjerg, but it's Behu, whether it's agency or trade, and because Decore he's good, but keeps getting injured, so it's like I can't hold on to him forever. And now, especially when I've got Hwang and Vardy on the bench injured. So this week my whole bench is red triangles. None of them are playing. So yeah, I'm going to have to get rid of something. Not Vardy, I can't get rid of. It just can't happen. And again, Hwang is a bit of a... Hwang is like Lukaku for me. I think I had him. He did a good couple of weeks for me. I got rid of him, and he's done nothing since. Hwang's the same, but he did everything for Rich, and now he did nothing for me since I traded with Rich. So it's sort of like, why am I holding on to him for so long? But I don't like getting rid of players that I've traded, if that makes sense. It just feels a waste to put them into agency when I've traded for that player.
Yeah, it's one of those gambles that you don't. It's a bit of pride that kicks in, isn't it? Really, I don't know. I think from the outside looking in, obviously Hwang is an okay player, isn't he? But he's kind of fallen short since. I'm just having a quick look now. He hasn't done anything since game week 9.
Yeah.
And then Vardy, obviously, yeah, you're better off keeping Vardy. At the end of the day, he's only out for another 3 or 4 maybe game weeks. And I'm sure he'll be straight back into the side because they miss him terribly, don't they?
Yeah.
Leicester at the moment. So it's just managing those red exclamation marks. I mean, Decore, yeah, with the fact of Everton bringing in Van der Beek and Dele Alli. Is that, even when Decore does come back, is that going to push him out if they start really, really well?
Yeah, it's potentially a good point.
To keep an eye on, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, I mean, I think him and Højbjerg, I'm probably going to look to put some free waivers up against for this week, just because I don't think I can manage Decore being injured and Højbjerg. He's funny. He's a 2-point merchant, but. And then randomly he'll score a goal or get an assist. So I'm like, do I hold him for those? But can't. It's the same with Fornals, really. But Fornals comes through a little bit
to play.
Yeah.
Vlasic is probably one that now Ben Rama is coming back. Is his time on the pitch going to be limited? But then again, all it takes is one decent substitute appearance, or one game where they set the world alight and win their team the game, and then they're in the team then from from there on in, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. No, I'm pretty happy. I just there's always a few. You can always make tweaks, can't you? That's the thing. It's just a few tweaks.
Absolutely.
But now I'm 9th. I might have a better pick, so that's probably the time to do it.
Well, this is it. Like I mentioned, there's a big nucleus of players that have come in either from abroad or have transferred from kind of within the Premier League that might now be worth a look at. Whereas, obviously, 2 weeks ago, they certainly weren't being looked at whatsoever. So,
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued to see how the waivers go tomorrow night, and in what order these players go out in. It should make for interesting reading, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Do you have any other questions? Does anyone in the chat have any questions for either of our teams? That is a legitimate question and not just some, heat or sand being thrown either way. I'm not seeing anything come through. Okay. Jim, send Mings to agency.
It's like a very odd thing to do.
Is that so you can have him for free, Jim? More than likely.
Jim needs to sort out some of his team,
I think we'd need a whole another episode to go through that, I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the main event. Your segment.
Okay. So, my segment this week, I thought we'd have a little game of higher or lower. So, very simple. I've picked a couple of different players that are obviously in the draft, and their current point standing as of right now. And basically, I'm going to compare them against another player, and all I want you to do is tell me whether that player is higher in their point scoring or lower in their point scoring.
Okay. Play along at home as well. Those in chat.
Yeah,
play this at the same time.
Pop the answers in the chat. That'd be grand. So we'll start off, Luke, and we'll start off with Chelsea's Timo Werner.
Okay.
So he is currently on 24 points. No idea how and why he's still in somebody's draft squad because he is rubbish. So I thought I'd go nice and easy. So it's Timo Werner's 24 points against Aston Villa's Danny Ings.
Okay.
Is Danny Ings higher or lower than Timo Werner's 24 points?
I'm going to go with higher.
You're going to say higher, Luke. I thought I'd start you off on a very, very nice and easy one. And of course, you are correct with higher. So Danny Ings is currently on 55 points. So over double the quality of Timo Werner. So we'll say goodbye to poor old Timo. Better off. And somebody needs to agency him, by the way, because he is rubbish. So we now move from Danny Ings' 55 points to your main man, Luke. We're going to go with James Ward-Prowse.
Okay.
Is James Ward-Prowse higher or lower than Danny Ings' 55 points?
For me, my initial reaction is higher. Let's see what's coming in the chat. We've had all hires for the last one. Everyone got that one right. I'm higher on this one. I hope nobody's cheating and is quickly looking them up, because that would not be What the hell? Oh my god. Will's put Danny Ings looks like the dwarf from Jackass.
Poor Danny.
Yeah.
He's in your team, Will. Goodness me. Treating his own players like that. No wonder he's not top.
Yeah, that's pretty poor. Yeah, higher for me, please.
Higher for you then. Nice and easy again. It should be fairly simplistic. I should hope everyone's got this correct as well. So James Ward-Prowse is indeed higher, and he is currently on 85 points. So well done, everyone at home. And well done to you, Luke, because that's what it's all about. So we'll say goodbye to the dwarf.
God, that's a new nickname that's going to stick, isn't it?
Dwarfy Ings. So we now move from James Ward-Prowse's 85 points, and he's going to go up against Watford's Emmanuel Dennis.
Oh,
so, as we know, he's had a bit of a worldy start to life in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But can it be that a Watford striker is currently outscoring Southampton's free kick and set piece specialist James Ward-Prowse? We're thinking higher or lower?
Oh no, this is a tough one for me. We've had a couple hires in the chat from Jim and Tom. Oh no.
Are you going to go against your man? Or are you going to back him?
No, I'm going to back my man and say Dennis is lower.
Well, unfortunately, Luke, this is your first error. Because Emmanuel Dennis is actually on 93 points.
Damn.
Which is quite remarkable for a Watford striker, considering Watford are as low as they are. He's basically carried their team quite considerably this season, although not that well in the actual league standings. But 93 points is not to be sniffed at all. But we shall move on, Luke. You've got plenty of time to redeem yourself. So we'll say goodbye to Mr. Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
So cheerio, James. We'll see you in Villa's Claret and Blue next season. And we welcome to the table Liverpool's left back, Andrew Robertson. So, Andrew Robertson, Liverpool defender, assist king, you might say.
Yeah.
Is he higher or lower than Emmanuel Dennis's 93 points?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Everyone's asking because everyone was saying I have to do a shot every time I get one wrong on camera, but unfortunately, the camera is not a quick setup to add to this. Now we've started, so unfortunately, I can't do that. But I have got a Doom bar, and I will be drinking some of that every time I get one wrong for you. Yeah, I think the general consensus is lower here, and that was going to be what I was going to say as well.
You're going to go, oof, that's a bold one, you know. A Liverpool fullback lower than a Watford striker. Are you sure you're definitely going to go with that, Luke?
Yes. I feel like Dennis's score, it's decent. 93 is decent.
It is very decent. And actually, you're quite right. It is better than Andrew Robertson. He is just ahead. Andrew Robertson is on 92 points currently. So that speaks volumes, doesn't it? That a Watford striker is actually better than the Liverpool left back.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, really, because, there's only a 1 point gap there. But considering Robertson, in his last 2 game weeks, has got 23 points, he had an absolute shocking start to the season in comparison. it's only really the last 2 game weeks against Brentford and Palace that he's done anything at all, really.
Yeah.
Well, Will has got a man in form there, but it's a good job that he's kept a hold of him, because he would have been up for a trade, I reckon, if he would have carried on his form before recently. But nevertheless, we'll say goodbye to Emmanuel Dennis. I'm sure if Watford get relegated, he will probably be snapped up by somebody to be kept in the Premier League. And we're going to bring into play Manchester City's Belgian maestro, Kevin De Bruyne.
Ooh.
Is Kevin De Bruyne higher or lower than Andrew Robertson?
See, I think any other season, I'd be saying higher, but this season it's lower. Got to be lower.
You reckon?
He's not had the best of seasons so far.
Storming since he's come back.
Yeah, but but you're that far behind already. It's a long way to catch up, isn't it? Especially if Robertson's on form as well.
This is true. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne, how I wonder, he has missed, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 6 game weeks this season. And you are, Mr. Headley, correct. He is on 86 points, which, considering, again, I know I'm linking this to a Liverpool left back on 92, but bearing in mind that Kevin De Bruyne has missed 6 game weeks, and he's been on the bench for another 4 of those on top.
It's not as low as I was expecting.
10 game weeks. Exactly. It makes you wonder why I've traded him out. But that's a different conversation to have with myself, I think. But 86 points, not bad going at all, I'd say. Considering he's only really started probably 13 out of the 23 game weeks, so not bad at all. But we'll say goodbye to Scotland and Liverpool left back Andrew Robertson. You're getting on a roll again now, Luke.
Yeah,
we're going to bring into play Tottenham and Snuggle of Booze striker, England's captain, Harry Kane. Is Harry Kane higher or lower than Kevin De Bruyne?
I mean, from the way the chat goes and talks about him, I'm going to go with lower. It just doesn't sound like he's done much this season already, for where he should be compared to last season.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. I think Kane has been probably, you could put him up there for flop of the season, I think, in my opinion, because you are quite right. He is definitely lower, and he's on 66 points.
Oof.
So he's got a bit of catching up to do, hasn't he? Considering Salah is on, what is he on, 171, is it? Or no, sorry, 177. Salah is on.
Yeah.
And considering they were so close together last season, he really needs to book up his ideas. Otherwise, is he going to be one of those that could be up for a trade with Tolly? Because 66 points is not the kind of the input that I'm sure he's after.
I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, Kane is one of those almost untouchables normally, but is this season a bit different? Should he trade him? I don't know. That's a question for another time, I think.
I think, certainly. I always think it'd be a bit silly not to just see what you could get for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're quite right. He is in God tier in the tier list, isn't he?
That's true. Yeah.
I wonder if he'll get moved down at some point. But we'll say goodbye to Kevin. Cheers, Kev. See you soon. And we're now going to bring in, as Lawrence likes to say, who plays number 10 for Brentford, Brian Mbeumo. Are we thinking that Brian Mbeumo from Brentford is higher or lower than Harry Kane?
Oh no! I feel like you're trying to reel me into something here, Ad.
No, not at all. I put him in there just purely because he's offered as trade bait, and I don't think a lot of people see him as that.
Yeah.
But I just thought I'd throw him in there and just see what you think. Do you rate him higher than Harry Kane in a fantasy term this
I
season?
mean, you wouldn't, would you, in a trade? But I think he's clearly done enough to warrant being put out there a lot. So I'm gonna say higher, but I don't think it's much.
What's the chat saying, Luke?
We've got
higher.
We've got hires, yeah, and then we've got Kane. Very awkward to watch play. Equals gutter tier from Tom.
Oh, I knew that was going to be off Tom. Just knew it. So, Luke, Brian Mbeumo, who plays number 10 for Brentford, is indeed higher than Harry Kane.
By 1 point.
Wow. By 1 point. Can you believe after 23 game weeks that Brian Mbeumo, who plays 10 for Brentford, has scored more points than Harry Kane, who is indeed in God tier? Quite remarkable, and it does tell us a lot that I think Kane's trade stock, is it still as high as it possibly could be? I don't know. But we'll say goodbye to poor old Howie. See you soon, pal. And now we will bring in another striker. We're going to talk about big Romelu Lukaku. You say he did ever so well for you, didn't he?
Well, yeah, he did all right, but it was only a few game weeks, and then he had to go.
He had to go. Yeah. But were you right in doing that? I think you were.
I stand by my decision. And this feels like the wrong thing to say here, but he should have done so much better than he has done. But unfortunately, I think he's lower than Mbeumo here.
I mean, that's a bold call, that, Luke. I mean, we're talking about two of the highest rated strikers and just players in general in the Premier League against Brian Mbeumo, who plays 10 for Brentford. Yep. But you are right, Luke. Romelu Lukaku is on 59 points. And I'm going to throw this one out there as well. Romelu Lukaku has been berated on our group, I would say, for the majority of the time that he's of this season. And he's on 59 points, which is actually only 7 points off Harry Kane. So what does that say about Mr. Kane?
Yeah, that is true. Actually, yeah.
Big Rom is only 7 points off him. So again, the trade stock of probably 2 normal number 1 picks in the draft, they're not doing too bad. They're not doing too good at all compared to Brian Mbeumo. But Brian's done his job now. He's knocked out Harry Kane, and he's obviously better than Romelu Lukaku. So we'll say goodbye to Brian. Right. And now we'll go Big Rom versus Crystal Palace's Vicente Guaita, who is their generally number 1 goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But he's been in and out a little bit recently with Jack Butland going between the sticks. Are we thinking that a Crystal Palace goalkeeper is better than big Romelu Lukaku in a fantasy point of view this season?
This is a tough one. I mean, Big Rom has been injured for a bit, but like you say, to get to 59 from the games he has played is decent. It just depends on the average points that this Guata would have got. It feels wrong to be saying a keeper got more than a striker, but
I'll give you a little clue, Luke. Vicente Guaita has kept 5 clean sheets in 23 game weeks, which isn't a great deal.
No,
and he's missed 3 game weeks.
This is going to be close. There's another close one, Adam. Whoa. Lower. I'm going lower.
Ooh, he's going to go lower. So, Big Rom, 59 points. Vicente Guaita, 67 points.
Oh, no.
He is higher than Big Rom. Can you believe it?
It's not on that.
Remarkable.
Shouldn't be allowed.
But it shouldn't be, but, this is it. We'll say goodbye to Big Rom. And now we will bring in Mr. Aaron Cresswell.
Okay.
George's main man. West Ham's left back. Are we thinking that he's higher or lower than Vicente Guaita?
God. This is another tough one. I don't know. I haven't really kept all that in touch with the West Ham players other than my own. I'm trying to think how many times I've seen his name pop up in the chat for an assist or goal. Yeah.
He was unreal last season. I think he was one of the top point scorers last season.
We've got a higher from Tom. I think I'm going to agree with Tom here. I think it's higher.
Aaron Cresswell, West Ham's left back, is currently on 66 points.
Oh no! Oh, Adam, stop giving me these. These shouldn't be. They should not be allowed.
But we will move on. We'll say goodbye to Crystal Palace goalkeeper. He's caused more than enough havoc, I think, for one evening. And let's bring into play Manchester United captain and fellow defender Harry Maguire.
Ooh.
Is Harry Maguire higher or lower than Aaron Cresswell? And I'll give you a little clue, Luke, just to help you along.
Okay.
Aaron Cresswell, George's favourite draft player of all time, has missed 7 game weeks. Harry Maguire, on the flip side, has missed a couple. He has missed, can you believe, 4 game weeks.
Yeah. But I think Maguire is partial to a yellow card. He does like a yellow card. A bit of cheese. And I think United have had a few games where I think defenders have had minus points, haven't they? So I'm going to say he's lower.
Going to go lower. Manchester United centre-back, Manchester United captain, Luke, is indeed lower than Aaron Cresswell. He is on 46 points.
Oh, that's grim reading. That is not good.
That is horrendous. And he is currently within a squad of players within the league. How? I'm not too sure, because 46 points is pretty dreadful.
Yeah.
Considering. But yes, it is what it is, Luke. We will say goodbye to Mr. Cresswell. And now we'll go with Harry Maguire, Manchester United centre-back and captain, versus Grant Hanley, who is Norwich's counterpart. Same position, captain also. Is Grant Hanley higher or lower than Harry Maguire?
This is a tough one. I feel like you're just setting up here. Let's ridicule United, and Rich is going to hate you for it because I bet you he's going to be higher, isn't he?
I mean, Luke, that's let's just take a step back here, Luke. Are you saying to me that a Norwich City centre back has got more points than Manchester United's captain Harry Maguire?
No, I'm guessing. You're telling me that's what it is. I'm just guessing what it is.
Well, Luke, your guess is completely correct. Grant Hanley has more points than Manchester United's captain, Harry Maguire. I mean, if that's not one of the biggest stories of this season, I'll not know what one is.
Well, we need to wait until the end of the season to see if that's still the case at the end. That is bad.
Well, that could be a very, very interesting one to keep a track on. After over half a season, Luke, I mean, that's fair play to Big Grant. He's done wonders there.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll say goodbye to probably one of the most overrated players in the whole league. So goodbye, Harry. We'll see you soon, pal, in the agency.
Yeah.
And now we will bring in Aston Villa's new star boy for the Premier League. We will bring in Jacob Ramsey, who hasn't played all that many games in comparison. He's done okay recently since he's been picked up in the league. But has he actually got more points than Grant Hanley at 47?
The fact that you call him, who was you call him, Starboy? What did you call him then?
Well, I might have done, yeah.
I think, yeah. I think he's going to be higher.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Luke, you're quite right. He is higher, and he's currently on 58 points.
It's not bad. From how many games?
That's not bad, is it, really? I mean, he's been in and out most of the season, but to be fair, under Steven Gerrard, he has played the majority of games. So he started before Gerrard came in. 4 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he started pretty much every game since in the league, bar one, I think. So not too bad to be on 58 points, to be fair. Certainly he's been picked up by a couple of managers now. Now Morris has picked him up from Rich, and doing pretty well. If I say so myself. But we'll say goodbye to Grant, Luke.
All right.
And we'll go Jacob Ramsey, Aston Villa midfielder, versus this person.
Okay. I have no idea who that could be.
I can confirm he is a player of Manchester City.
Yeah.
And I can confirm he was purchased for £100 million from Aston Villa to Manchester City.
100 million.
Are we thinking he is higher or lower than Jacob Ramsey's 58?
God, this is a tough one. because I know he's played most games for C. But again, I don't think I've seen his name appear all that much in the chat for updates of when he scored or assisted or anything. So, and knowing you, Adam, the only reason he is on here is to prove why he shouldn't have left whichever team he left. So, I'm going to say lower.
Blimey, Luke. I mean, to guess that a player that is currently worth £100 million and playing for Manchester City, who are going to romp the league this season, you're telling me that he is possibly lower in points than Aston Villa's Jacob Ramsey? That's what you're guessing. And I'll be honest, Luke, you're absolutely right. He is certainly lower than Aston Villa's Jacob Ramsey.
Close.
It is very close, but I'm afraid he is still lower.
Yeah.
So what this tells us is Jacob Ramsey is probably one of the best midfielders in the Premier League and certainly worth a lot more than £100 million. So I'd like to thank you very much, Luke, for playing the Premier League Draft Higher or Lower quiz. Let's say goodbye to the blurred man. See you. And thank you very much, Luke.
Thank you, Adam.
Is done.
That was great. Loved that very much. And I hope you enjoyed playing along at home as well. Let us know if you want to see that again. I don't know who's still here. I think Tom's the only one who's been playing for the last few rounds, so it might just be Tom. But yeah, no, thank you very much, Adam. Thanks for coming on again as usual. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I think this has been a successful episode today. Bit different doing it live, so we've had people chatting along as well, which has been nice. So yeah, again, just if you've been listening, thanks for tuning in and engaging with us. If you're not subscribed, please leave a like. It does help us out a lot. And we'll say farewell. Thanks for coming on, Adam.
No, thank you very much for having me again. Look forward to next time. Hopefully it will be, I don't know whether it will be at the end of the season, but if it is, hopefully it's going to be quite tight towards the end.
Yes, we're all hoping that. Good luck. Good luck in the Pokal Cup. 2 weeks to go for that, isn't there, on this leg? So
yes.
Yeah. I'm just gonna sign off as always. So, as usual, this is the DraftCast. Oh wait, I've forgotten it. Oh no, where's my agenda?
Oh no!
Here we go. Okay, I got it. Okay, wait. Let me reset. As always, this is the DraftCast, and remember, draft is life. See you next time.